Welcome to my channel. This is an indication of some of the things that I cover on a regular basis in my videos. If you haven't already subscribed, please feel free to do so, and don't forget to click the little bell so that you'll get notified of future videos. Please feel free to share my videos on your social media, and I hope you enjoy the video which follows. Well, I'm going to try my hand at pickling my jalapenos. This is my entire harvest, but I only had 2 plants, so I'm quite pleased. I'm going to use a recipe that I found online, very simple. Wearing these yellow gloves to try to avoid getting all of the hot pepper juice over my hands. All these peppers have to be sliced. I think there's something like 2.5 pounds here. If I remember rightly, it was quite a while ago when I weighed them. This recipe actually just calls for 1.5 pounds, but I'm thinking there's plenty of brine. Looks to me like it'd be more than enough, so time will tell. These have been fairly hot. Earlier on, when I used just a few of them, when they were not fully developed type thing, I didn't find any heat at all. And then the later ones that I've used have been quite hot. So, there's one of the people here on the island who grew jalapenos. Friend of mine said whatever she grew didn't have any heat at all. They were like green peppers, and they were plants that she got from a nursery, and the end product looked like jalapenos. So I don't know what went wrong there, but they're a pepper that varies a lot anyway in the amount of heat that's in them. Sometimes they're quite spicy, other times they're not spicy at all. I always get a kick out of watching Jacques Pepin, the chef, French chef on television, or on the internet I guess now. He always wants to taste them to find out first if they're hot or not. And what he does is takes this little piece off the end here and tastes it and says they're not bad. Well, there's never any heat in the growing end. The heat is further on in the pepper and in the seeds and the ribs and whatever, but that's what he always does. Well, I won't make you watch me continue all the slicing. I'll bring you back when I've finished this part. There they are, all sliced. That didn't take all that long. And with the use of the yellow gloves, I don't have burning hands. So now I'll put together the ingredients that go in the brining solution. It's a pretty simple mixture. You can use either white vinegar or cider vinegar, and I'm using cider, apple cider vinegar. This is 3 cups of apple cider vinegar and a cup of water. And it calls for 2 cloves of garlic just crushed. Mine weren't very big, so I've put 3 or 4 in there just crushed, because they're going to be taken out. They won't be added into the jars. And this is my addition, about 3/4 cup of sugar. Sugar will help balance the heat if they are overly hot, but also I don't care for things that are just pickled in straight vinegar. I find them too strong. I like to cut that with a little sugar, so I'm adding the sugar, which is obviously optional. You don't have to. Now this goes on the stove and is brought to a boil and then reduced to a simmer and simmered for 5 minutes. Well, I have my canner on for a hot water bath, getting it up to a boil, and the pickling juice is just, well, not quite boiling yet, but anyway, time to fill the jars with these slices, I guess. lots of steam coming out of the pot that has a pickling juice in it. As you can see, I'm using small jars, something that I don't do very often, but I scrounged around and found enough. I don't think I'd want to open and waste large jars. I wouldn't use a lot of it at any given time. And I might give some away as well, so we'll see, depending on what they're like, I guess. And I'll bring you back when I've got the jars all filled. Well, the brine has done its thing. I've removed the garlic, and I got 9 of these jars. So, and just a few slices left over. A little bit more yet, I guess. I got a feeling I may have to make another batch of the vinegar mixture. Anyway, you bring this, you add enough to bring it within 1/4 of an inch of the top of the jar. And I have the lids on in hot water. Add the lids and rings. I'll bring you back and show you what I get, or a finished product here. Well, I did have to mix up another half batch of the pickling mixture. The canner has come to a boil. So this is both the canning and the cooking, I guess, for these. They've just had hot liquid poured over them, but they go in here, and once they have come back to a full boil, you boil them for 10 minutes. When I was sterilizing jars, I sterilized this little thing along with everything else. It's half the size of those, so it must be a 4-ouncer, I guess. But it was just enough to hold the leftover slices, so I didn't have to waste anything. They're all in jars. You don't need to watch me load this thing. I'll bring you back when I bring them out of the canner. Well, there they are, just out of the canner, waiting for them to click and seal, and wait a couple of weeks before I can try them. But it wasn't that difficult a process. I hope I like them. Thank you very much for watching.